Hello, thank you for joining us today in our webinar on how to harden your Genesys platform. My name is Lubov Bilos. I'm brand manager at Miratech, and I'm pleased to present our speakers, Jim Wessel of Miratech, who has over 19 years of experience working at Genesys, and Adam Bennett of Cloudburst, who is our valued partner and a cyber thought leader with over 18 years of experience. Jim and Adam will provide an overview of the 6 key areas of support that you should address to enhance the security of your Genesys platform. Before we kick this off, I'd like to let you know that there is going to be about 15-20 minutes of us talking about this topic, and that you can submit any questions you may have during and after the session via live chat. We will answer all of them. With that, I hand it over to Jim and Adam.
Hi, and welcome to our webinar on cybersecurity in the call center environment. I'm Jim Wessel, Global Account Executive with Miratech. I've worked in the contact center business for over 20 years with Genesys, doing custom development, services, and sales as a Genesys employee and partner now. I'm here with our CyberCX expert, Adam Bennett. Adam, introduce yourself.
Thank you, Jim. Hello out there to our audience. This is Adam Bennett, founder and vice president of Miratech strategic partner, Cloudburst Security. And I've got over 18 years of cybersecurity experience, including a whole bunch of U.S. federal government agencies, banking, finance, healthcare, a number of other commercial organizations. So now that Jim has given you an overview of the Miratech Genesys experience, some of the security issues and use cases, I'm going to review our CyberCX offering and discuss some of those use cases in more detail.
Today, Adam and I will introduce you to Miratech, provide an overview of cybersecurity in the contact center, and then give some examples of what we can do to enhance the security in your Genesys environment. Then we'll share our cyber assessment roadmap. Miratech is a global IT services and consulting organization. We enable startups, mid-sized companies, and large multinational organizations achieve their strategic business goals by providing dedicated, high-performing technology teams that plan, manage, develop, and support information technology infrastructure, operations, and client-facing solutions. Miratech has been a trusted Genesys partner since the year 2000. We have over 200 dedicated Genesys engineers and consultants. From developing the Genesys platform to customizing it for specific business objectives, Miratech has worked with Genesys every step of the way. As you can see from our relationship timeline, we started with R&D on WFM in the year 2000 and continue to provide engineering to Genesys, touching virtually every product in the portfolio. We naturally followed that up by providing Tier 2 and 3 technical support. And then in 2005, we expanded our role by assisting Genesys professional services on very strategic implementations. Then in 2010, we started working with Genesys University. We continue today to be a key Genesys partner in engineering support, professional services, and training. In recent years, frequent targets of fraud, like financial institutions, insurance companies, and others, have concentrated security efforts on online channels. This has made online fraud significantly more difficult and risky for criminals to commit. At the same time, however, fewer resources have been devoted to phone fraud, making call centers significantly more vulnerable. In fact, from 2016 to 2017, call center fraud increased 113%. Companies are not ignoring the threat. However, those tasked with the call center cybersecurity are often overworked, understaffed, and outmatched by the technical challenges of maintaining the highest level of security. Some of the challenges they face include uncertainty their complex systems are secure, and the inability to monitor them properly. The threat of data leakage and its potential impact on their business. Finding ways to withstand telephony denial of service attacks and what to do should they occur. And then absence of the sufficient skills among their team to ensure their Genesys platform has been set up correctly and there are no cyber threats while it's operating. Out of the box, Genesys is a highly secure product, though after organizations change their Genesys configurations, that security has softened. If consultants are used to integrate tools and implement further customizations, the risks of an open point of entry increase dramatically. Genesys products are complex. That is why you need experts with combined experience in both Genesys products and cybersecurity. Miratech's 20 years of Genesys experience and over 3 million man-hours of installing, customizing, and operating the Genesys platform allows our team to identify virtually every security risk that can occur during Genesys setup and operation. When you combine our Genesys experience with the power of our cybersecurity teams that support the world's most secure environment, like the U.S. Department of Defense and Transportation, you get the most powerful solution to securing your Genesys platform, CyberCX. And now over to Adam.
Cybersecurity practice area covers really the full spectrum of cybersecurity service areas, from regulatory compliance, assessments, managed security services, incident response forensics, to advanced cyber analytics. And we've got experience in a large number of verticals, including federal government, state and local government, banking, finance, healthcare, and many others. Now I want to talk more about the CyberCX offering right now. This offering is really designed to harden your Genesys platform with our world-class cybersecurity services. Your Genesys platform starts off secure out of the box, but as you know, technology and security are not static. Vulnerabilities, threats, risks are constantly evolving. So CyberCX covers your entire Genesys platform to identify risks and lay out an actionable roadmap to harden the platform in 6 key areas. And as you can see that here, those are data leakage, issues with security certificates, user access control, telephony, denial of service or TDoS, readiness, misdialing, and missing recordings. So we're going to talk a little bit about the first area, data leakage. So there are a lot of technologies available to organizations today to gather, store, analyze, and share customer data. This is great. It opens up a lot of opportunities for efficiency and customer care, but it can also present some security risks. Some of the trends and things that kind of lead to that are, there's a lot of outsourcing now of call centers. There's a lot of business partners and vendors that have access that people don't know about. Maybe all the access that they have. May not be aware of where the sensitive data resides, who has access to that, and what protections are in place to prevent data leaks. So CyberCX maps all that sensitive data out, who has access, and provides an in-depth review of specific Genesys configurations that will provide you actionable recommendations to improve. So issues with security certificates. TLS, SSL, this is a fundamental internet security technology. It's been around since the beginning, really, or maybe early 90s. And so it enables millions of transactions a day. It's built on trust and end-to-end security. If a certificate expires or it's misconfigured, then you have that trust is broken, the end-to-end security is broken. And with Genesys specifically, it can also cause really expensive downtime for the platform. So what we do is we review your processes, technologies to make sure that your SSL, TLS security issues don't catch you off guard. So access control and authorization, these are critical areas to make sure that only the people who have a need to know to utilize and process that data have the access. So your Genesys platform, the underlying tools and technologies, they really give you all the tools you need to succeed, but you have to make sure that it's configured right. So this area is often overlooked. So CyberCX provides you a thorough access control review to make sure Genesys users have just the right level of access to do their job and no more. Telephony denial of service, or TDoS, is an area, can come in many forms. And often you have the attackers utilize spoofed phone numbers, which makes it kind of hard to detect or prevent. It can be very costly if the organization's not prepared, if they haven't done incident response scenarios and exercises, if they haven't looked at their controls. So we take a very close look at your technical and procedural controls that are in place to prevent and respond to TDoS attacks. So there's another couple of areas that are specific to call centers. Misdialing is an area that it's kind of specific. So if you enter a single wrong digit, if your system's not set up properly, there could be cases where the bad guys can exfiltrate data and get into your system. So what we do is we look at all the potential points of misdialing. We map all those things through and test them to make sure that this can't happen. Another area is on a similar vein is missing recordings. So if the logic is not right, then the bad guy may be able to get through your system and get some information. So this slide sort of lays out our methodology to create the CyberCX roadmap. So the first step, as you can see, is interview personnel. We've developed an extensive interview and set of questions. We go through that, and then we take a really close look at all your security documentation, your documentation for your call center. And that's very important. And we take a close look at the business review and how closely is your business aligned to technology and security. We look at the overall business environment. We actually perform additional interviews as needed. Then we go into the phase of preparing and drafting the report. It's very important for us to make sure we get that right, so we usually deliver that in a draft form, and then finally present that and finalize the report. Now the next few slides sort of delve into a little more into the different steps. I'm gonna sort of skip through some of these because for the sake of timeliness. As I said before, on the interview, we make sure that we have that script up front. We usually don't provide that too much in advance of the interview sessions because we actually would prefer to make sure that we have the right people there and not just have one person answer the majority of the questions. We want to make sure the organization is on the same page. I mentioned documentation review. So this is an area it's really important to make sure that you have repeatable processes and that IT and security and business are aligned. This is a very important area, business review, especially in call center environments, because you're there to take care of the customer, and what the organization does, what their business is, that's what's going to drive how things need to be laid out, which affects configuration and security. And this environmental assessment sort of takes that a little further. We take a look at, what, sort of going back to the critical data and the critical systems, what would happen if different scenarios happen? Have you done an impact analysis on those. And so we get into that and going through some tabletop exercises as well. then we actually perform an in-depth interview. This could be a second set of interviews depending on our initial findings as well. And the next phase is for us internally in the Miratech team to develop our report, and we deliver that in a draft form like I mentioned earlier. And then we present the final report and make sure that there's a good roadmap and you have an actionable plan that everyone agrees with to move forward. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Jim. He's going to discuss some of our clients, and then we'll get into Q&A.
Thanks, Adam. Great presentation. Miratech prides itself on our 99% success rate and our experience implementing Genesys platforms effectively for the world's top Fortune 100 company. With our help, we guarantee that your Genesys implementation will be successful too. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at cybercx@miratechgroup.com. Thanks a lot for joining us. Have a good day.